So this is how my daughter imagines an elephant, but this is obviously what we are not here to talk about. 4 years ago, Telefonica, one of the largest telecom operators in the world with more than 340 million customers and more than 120,000 employees, decided to become a digital telco and build digital products. And us in the R&D unit had to support that change. And it was a great challenge what we had ahead, because it's very different building a digital product from building traditional telco products. The uncertainty is much higher, the way you create value for the customers is different, and life cycles are much faster. So we were in a situation where we needed to get radically different results. By that time, we already knew about Lean Startup and about Eric's book, and we thought our initial hypothesis was that this could help us dealing with uncertainty. But of course, there's a great distance between reading a book and making Lean Startup, working in a large company like Telefonica with more than 90 years of history. So we started with 2 innovation projects, and then we applied it to an ideation program we had already in place, and this gave us the experience and the confidence to take the next step. That was applying it to all the innovation projects. So how did we do it? I forgot something important. Where is the... Sorry. We asked all our teams to follow a set of 7 simple rules, very much aligned with Lean Startup principles that are: start small, aim high, so all our projects start with minimum resources but have a high level of ambition, and the budget invested in each project increases with the project progress with validated learnings. Another important thing is iterate fast to achieve efficiency in each of the maturation stages. Test in the market from the very beginning. Fail fast, fail cheap, and make sure you learn along the way. Encourage multidisciplinary teams with a mixture of profiles with user experience, technological, business, scientific research. Rely on our open innovation program. We have already in place one program, and this helps us to complement our skills and kill those projects that are not progressing. Because by killing a project that is not progressing, you can give another team the opportunity to test on our idea, and why not be successful? And ideally, the killing should be done by the team itself or the leader of the team. And we have several examples of this. We even have our own serial killer. He's a project leader that has killed all the projects he has started, and we're proud of him. But when you kill a project, you must make sure some kind of debriefing session or process takes place to make the most of the results and the learnings of that project. Because this way, you avoid the frustration you can create in teams when they see their project killed and they see their effort goes nowhere. Okay, but Lean Startup means a different way of doing things. So we realized that we needed to put in place another 3 initiatives to make it work in a company like ours. First, Lean Startup training. It really makes a difference, and we make sure our teams get it from the beginning. Internal mentors, or as we like calling ourselves, corporate innovation hackers, because projects and teams cannot left going solo. So we help teams, we guide them, we assist them, but not only with the methodology, also with the processes in the company to move in the organization. But when we started, we were also learning. So when we had the first meeting with the team to provide them guidance as mentors, when the meeting ended, the team described it as the worst meeting ever. So, after picking up the pieces of our pride, we understood that we also needed to have external mentors that help us with the methodology, but also provide an external network of contacts and also an external point of view. But as I said before, we really didn't know if this was going to work in a company like ours. Fortunately, 2 years ago, The Harvard Business Review published this article by Steve Blank, Why the Lean Startup Changes Everything. And Steve Blank wrote in that article, despite the methodology's name, in the long term, some of its biggest payoffs may be gained by the large companies that embrace it. So we weren't as crazy as we thought. Come on, it's the Harvard Business Review. It cannot be wrong, can it? But of course, it wasn't easy. We had some challenges we had to overcome. Challenges like dealing with corporate processes and politics that you have in a large organization, and if you want an innovation project to progress and move in the company and get towards commercialization, you have to manage them. It's what Henry Chesbrough calls getting upstairs in the building, is in his excellent article, Why Internal Ventures Are Different from External Startups. And our teams dedicate a significant part of their time to this. One of our project leaders estimated that 30% of his time is devoted to this task. So how do we deal with it? First, we communicate the activities we are carrying on, the progress, and the achievements. But it's also very important to sit down with the people that are in charge of the processes in the company, like for example purchases, sit down with them, explain them how we work, explain them what we need from them and why we need it from them. And it turns out that most of the people understand it perfectly and are willing to help. It's also very important to get commitment and support from top management. Another challenge is finding entrepreneurs in the company, because Lean Startup implies a mindset change from achievers and performers to pioneers and explorers. And I say intrapreneurs, not entrepreneurs. They're different animals, because an entrepreneur has got to push the product, the project outside in the market, but also has got to push the project inside the company. Remember what I just said about getting in upstairs in the building? Actually, the more the person knows about the company, the processes, the more contacts this person has in the company, the better. And as I said, we needed entrepreneurs and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to find them. But what it really happened is that these people are waiting for an opportunity to emerge. In our case, what has worked very well for us is having innovation calls, where any employee can submit an idea for an innovation project, and if selected, they have the opportunity to work on that idea. Okay, so having a strong brand is no doubt a very good advantage when you're launching a new product in the market. But when you are in the early stages of an innovation project, experimenting, relying on MVPs, this is really not an advantage. On the contrary, it can bias or contaminate the results. Therefore, you don't know what you're measuring. Not to mention, you can get yourself in serious trouble if you mess with the brand. I remember when I was going to have the first meeting with the brand department to explain them how we work and what we needed from them. I was thinking, God, these are the people that the Telefonica logo goes on the right, not on the left. It has a certain color. It has an exclusion zone where you cannot put anything else. I thought that only happened with planes. They even tell you how Telefonica must be pronounced. How am I going to explain them? We make experiments, A/B testings, we launch landing pages without even having a product, just to test the value proposition. So I did the only thing I thought I could do, that is explain in a transparent way how we work, why we work like this, and what we needed from them. And they did understand it, and they're willing to provide solutions that suit each case. And they also have provided us with a Telefonica lab look and feel for those products that are in a beta stage. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of the Telefonica lab look and feel. This is Radio Me. It's a device that allows elderly people to receive and send WhatsApp messages. This is also Radio Me. This is Thinking Things, is an Internet of Things solution based on blocks. Each block has a different function, and by putting blocks together, kind of a Lego thing, you get your personalized Internet of Things solution. And here we got Drivius. In this case, we needed to use a white brand. and this is what we're using, a white brand. Drivers is an app that relies on the capabilities on the sensors of smartphones and analyzes driving patterns and helps drivers to improve their driving skills, providing them information. This is more drivers. What is also interesting about this product is that we were able to launch it in just 4 months. Trust me, this is really fast for us. Okay, so you are experimenting in a B2B environment and you work in a big organization and you need to talk to customers that are business companies. Chances are that there's going to be in your company an account manager that's not going to be very happy if you haven't involved her from the beginning in this conversation. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, an obstacle. On the contrary, having a sales force can open you doors of customers, and this is an advantage that not many startups have. We have seen how in some cases these salespeople have turned themselves into problem detectors for our innovation projects, and the other way around, this way of working with customer development process has also opened the salespeople doors of the customers, doors to departments that were closed before, like for example, marketing department. But it's very important to tackle expectations, because salespeople are focused on short-term selling and you are focused on short-term learning. I think by now everybody agrees that using exploitation KPIs to measure innovation destroys it. So what we have for measuring innovation is a combination of KPIs, more qualitative than quantitative, and focusing on mid-long-term results. For example, for individual projects, one of our key metrics is validated learnings within a certain period of time, but we also have got metrics to understand how is the health of our innovation funnel. So, for example, a very important metric for us is the number of innovation projects that have been transferred to the business unit or the product line. And precisely speaking about that, the most critical moment of an innovation project is when it's time to scale up and be transferred to the business unit or the product line. It's when the project is not only competing for budget with the established business, but it's also competing for attention from the sales channel, from the sales force, is competing for support from operations, from marketing, and in a large corporation, processes are not usually designed to make this transition easy. In our experience, all the projects that have been applying Lean Startup have more chances of being successful in that transition. Basically because of all the evidences gathered around the market, around the customers, the traction they have even in the market, with even some customers already wanted to pay for that product. It's also absolutely key to have a sponsor, a stakeholder in the business unit that really supports the project. But it's not enough. In our experience, it's not enough. Actually, one of the last experiments we have done is with this project. Mobile Connect is a service that basically provides secure authentication based on the SIM of the mobile phone. It's a project developed in the scope of the GSMA. The GSMA is one of the most important industrial forums in the telco industry. We have transferred this project to the business unit for its deployment and commercialization. Actually, this autumn is being deployed in several countries. And we have not only transferred the product, we have also transferred the team, the R&D team that has been working on this project during this time. And this has allowed us not only to transfer the product, we are also transferring all the knowledge around the product, all the knowledge around the market, all the knowledge around the customers, all the knowledge around the business model, as well as all the contacts and even the customers that are already wanting this product. This is what one of our external mentors, Mario López de Ávila, calls the complete product toolkit. And this is what we transferred in this case. This is a problem we should have expected because we are a technological company and we have quite a few engineers. And engineers, we are biased towards putting the solution first, instead of focusing first on the problem, on the pain we are trying to solve. So one of the biggest challenges our teams have faced is having to step back and think first on the problem, find out which is the problem they're going to solve, the pain they're going to solve, and then the solution that is going to solve that pain. In fact, what we have found out is that Lean Startup doesn't work if you don't have the combination of a painful problem and then the potential solution. We have had lots of innovation projects with an amazing technical solution that had to step back in order to find the problem first. And at this stage, in this earlier stage, this methodology, the Lean Startup, is not the right one. There are others like design thinking that work much better at this stage. Also, another thing is that Lean Startup works very well when there is uncertainty around the market, around the customer, around the solution. But when you're in a situation where your customers are already identified, they are already demanding a certain product, a certain solution, then your only uncertainty is if you are going to be capable of building it, if you have the technology to build it. Then what we do is just let our technical people do their work. But of course, not everything was challenges. We have achievements we are very proud of, and we have changed our way of working. Now we have our teams getting out of the building. This is a team that the first day they got out of the building, they made 30 interviews with potential customers, 30 face-to-face conversations with potential customers in the busy streets of the city center in Madrid. This is the Radio Me team. They made 50 guerrilla interviews in the parks and streets of Barcelona in more than one day, in this case. But it's not easy getting out of the building for some people, especially technical people, because it's something they haven't done before. So you need to guide them, and you need to support them. But in our experience, when they do it, there is no turning back. We have a project leader in his 50s that he has a long career as a technical product manager, and it was the first time he was having conversations, face-to-face conversations with the potential users of the products he was building. When we asked him what was the most valuable thing of this methodology, he answered right away: having face-to-face conversations with customers. It's a reality check everybody should do. Of course, it's also very important to test in the market, to test with your customers, if you are addressing real needs, if you are addressing real valuable things customers need. And of course, pivoting when hypotheses are wrong. In the case of the Mobile Connect project I was talking before, after 42 interviews they did in the streets, they got out of the building and they made 42 interviews, they realized that the customer segment they were addressing wasn't the right one. So they had to pivot to another customer segment. Of course, as I said at the beginning of the talk, our teams work with minimal resources, and this encourages in teams creativity and also getting out of the comfort zone. So you can see them doing things like recruiting their peers that have some spare time, and recruiting them for working during that spare time in their own projects. But also our teams are building products, testing in the market, but also incrementally, with short iterations, with fast iterations. For example, these are the prototypes of Radio Me. The one you got up there is the first one. It's made of cardboard, glue, and scissors. And the last one over there, it took us like 2 months to build it. And it is made for a pre-commercial test that was done at the Telefonica flagship store in Barcelona. This is how the prototypes of the Thinking Things project I was talking before evolved. And also, Lean Startup has allowed us to encourage or foster entrepreneurship in a company, because this kind of ownership, this autonomy that people get, as Jenny said this morning, the feeling of empowerment they get for creating or working on their own ideas is something that they feel it's a reward. They love working like this. This is how some of our people see it. But also Lean Startup has brought up something very important for us. That is, we have been able to speed our innovation. Now we have innovation cycles 2.6 factor faster than we had before. And precisely that speed, as well as this way of working and minimizing resources and everything, has helped us to do more with less. So with a slightly less budget, we have been able to increase in 45% the number of innovation projects, and at the same time, we have reduced in 48% the budget invested in each of the projects. And these numbers mean two essential things. First, we have been able to minimize the risk of our innovation by augmenting the granularity of our bets and by minimizing the cost of failure of each project. But also, we are increasing the chances of having relevant impact in the business, because within the time frame and budget, we have more opportunities to test more ideas and learn how to build products that will give money in the future. But of course, this wouldn't have been possible. There are some photographs missing there. There are some photographs missing, but this wouldn't have been possible without amazing people, the amazing people that have been working in all these projects. Here are some of them. And if some of you are willing to take the jump and adopt Lean Startup, my advice would be, first, provide training and mentorship, because this is a different way of doing things and people have to learn how to do it. Also, adapt Lean Startup to your company, to your organization, because as the mentor I said before, Mario says, there is no right or wrong culture in your company, in your organization. So what you have to do is make it work in that context and in that culture. And start small. Because by starting small, you are both minimizing the risk, but at the same time, you are learning how to make it work. So that will give you the confidence and experience to take the next step, that is expanded once you have tested how it works and how to make it work in the company or in your organization. And this is what I wanted to share with you today. Here are my contact details, as well as my colleague Maria. We both wrote the Lean Elephants white paper. You can download for our website, but of course I'm going to be around here in case you have any questions or you need to ask me anything or have a conversation.